Kyle Hilliard, your 10th favorite game of all time. Let's break off this cookie.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Of course, it's Donkey Kong Country. My 10th favorite game of all time. I absolutely love that game.
Are we supposed to clap?
Please don't
any
clap.
sort of verbal encouragement we can give.
Save your clapping for the end of everyone's time.
Who's clapping?
Okay.
But I was late to video games in general, I guess you could say. I didn't have a Nintendo. I started with Super Nintendo, and then there was a bundle that came with Donkey Kong Country. So I actually played that before Super Mario World. And I just absolutely adore that game. I have a lot of nostalgia for that game. Playing with my brother, I replayed it a couple weekends ago.
Your brother never stops playing it.
I know we're concerned about it. But I played through it the other day on my Super Nintendo Classic, and it holds up, and it still made me very happy to play. And that game is very important to me.
Hang on, we're talking about the TV show.
Yeah, that's right, with the crystal coconut, right?
The DVD menu of the TV show.
All right, here's always the hypothetical, right?
Yeah.
If you just looked at one screenshot of that game and listened to the soundtrack, what percentage of satisfaction would you get from that experience versus banging your head against some minecarts for 48 hours?
I mean, a lot, but I don't bang my head against the minecarts, Hans. I've played that game a lot, so I'm very good at it.
Are you really?
I'm decent at it. Okay. I mean, I'm not a speedrunner. I'm not that great at
So-
it, but I enjoy it.
I'll leave it nameless, but I remember the 300 meeting started out where we're talking about like, all right, top 300 games of all time. Let's try and narrow it down to the top 30 so we can get covers rolling. Like, what's for sure in that 30?
Yeah.
And a certain member of the staff was confident. It wasn't you, Kyle, saying Donkey Kong Country's in the top 30 games of all time.
Wow.
I wanted to vomit. I feel like half the staff just they gave like a comic like whoa, and like tipped over backwards in their chair. Like, no way.
I definitely wouldn't. I didn't think it was guaranteed. I thought I was going to have to fight for it
For the 300 in general?
For the 300 in general.
Holy
yes.
yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So I think I know Elise is a big fan as well. She kind of has a similar like nostalgia.
I don't remember who it was that brought it up in the meeting.
But I'm guessing the top 30 person was somebody different. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But anyway, when it went through no problem, I was kind of surprised because I thought it does look weird today, but it's still super fun. I like the game a lot. Music's great.
Music is definitely amazing. And you think the gameplay holds up okay?
Yeah, it's still a great platformer. It plays well.
Those minecarts are still a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they keep making those levels in other games.
All right, I've been meaning to ask you too. What is your official ranking for every Donkey Kong Country game?
1, Returns, Tropical Freeze, 3, 2.
Why don't you like 2?
I don't know. I was too hard.
Wow.
I didn't like the bramble stuff. I don't like where you have to like work your way through sort of singular.
Right.
Like, the walls are all dangerous. I liked Dixie a lot though. I think she's cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Have you seen the making of Donkey Kong Country that they released? Like, I wasn't even a subscriber to Nintendo Power, but for some reason,
like
Nintendo
that
knew to
VHS
send me a
tape?
VHS tape where it's like, guy going to the treehouse eating a bunch of bananas.
I've seen bits of it on YouTube now, but I did not receive that VHS when I was a child.
I probably got your copy.
That explains so much.
We actually watched it in the Donkey Kong Country replay we did, 1,400 years ago. You can probably find it on, I think it must be on our YouTube channel or Game Informer's site. We, at the end of it, watched that entire video and make fun of
There's
it.
a guy who's very excited to be there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Donkey Kong Country, man.
It's a good 10, I think. It's Rare's best-selling game of all time, I think.
Really?
I think so. Last I looked into it.
Wow.
God, you'd think Rare Replay would be like 30 times higher selling than any of their other games.
You'd think. Or that Connect Sports game, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Grabbed by the ghoulies.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Hey, Dantak.
Yeah.
I brought you down here because I like that you're an oddball choice in the office. You're the PC editor. I'm not saying you need to have PC games on your list, but if you don't have some Baldur's Gate stuff or something, we're going to be very disappointed.
Okay, well, I'm not going to... That's what we're here for, to talk about my picks. So
I was kind of hoping to skip you. No, you're number 10.
Move along, then.
You're
Move
number
along.
10. Let's go. What do you got, man?
Number 10, it is Bioshock.
Interesting.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Bioshock
So-
Infinite. Amazing.
In general, it takes... No, not Infinite.
it's
Just Bioshock. It takes a lot to impress me in terms of in a first-person shooter campaign.
Yeah.
Like, I play FPS for multiplayer most of the time. But this was one of the first ones that actually had a hook that kept me like wanting to know more and kept me going with interesting characters and an interesting environment. Having an actual story, like that wasn't wooden and garbage in a single-player FPS environment for me was really cool.
So many silly accents in that game as well.
It
It's really
has,
all
it
over
has
the
moments
place.
where it's silly and has moments where it's very dark. So
That makes
I
the characters more memorable.
Yeah. Are you like a System Shock guy, Dan?
No.
Okay, so like this is your first Shock game.
No, I played System Shock.
Oh, did you watch Static Shock?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. That's interesting. So did you play it right when it came out?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And it just immediately you're like, this is one of the greats.
I don't know if I immediately said that like right after playing it, but like, after it had time to mull around a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the hacking mini game.
Like it's even though the twist is like whatever, it's still cool.
Whatever.
Like,
It's a cool twist.
It's a cool twist.
I think it's the most memorable part of that game outside of the setting.
I mean, probably outside of the setting, it does really great things atmospherically.
I think like the fight with the Nutcracker music is probably my favorite moment.
because I think there's lots of great moments in the game. That's the thing. Like it's pretty
Great set pieces.
Exactly. Even just the beginning, the opener is very memorable.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Kyle, do you remember the first time you played that game?
Yeah. I remember. The one thing I remembered, like my takeaway from it was like interacting with the big daddies. I was like, this thing has already quickly. I realized this is a staple of video games. In the same way, like Mario represents video games. Like just a couple hours into that game, I was like, Big Daddy moving forward is going to be a staple of things that represent video games. Like it's an important icon
This
in
is
video games.
redefining the way we interact with Daddy.
That's right. That's right.
100%.
He's finally Big Daddy.
How much
Yeah.
of it is the sound design of Big Daddies?
What did you say?
How much of it is the sound design of Big Daddies? Just like the weird.
a lot.
It's like
I think it's-
I think it's 43%.
It is. That's correct.
Yeah, not quite more than half.
Tack.
Yeah.
Or do you like Bioshock 2 more than Infinite?
No, I like Infinite more than 2.
Oh, okay. All right. But still, hell of a time. So you like smiled and stuff when you played Bioshock?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on, man. That's what I like to hear,
It's a
bro.
great experience.
Yeah.
a great game.
Hey, Leo Vader, number 10.
Hello. I made my list for people to get mad at. So if you get mad at
Thank
it,
you.
We know.
I've done my job.
Did you really?
There we go.
Because that's a consideration.
There we
Like
go.
I totally have that. By the way, Leo is our video editor here. Does a wonderful job. He's also 16 years old, and so that's why I wanted you to have you on here because you just have picks that I'm guessing no one else will have
I
or
can't
even
wait
consider.
for Drop Mix is coming, isn't it?
Damn well better. But no, seriously, like I had that moment where I'm looking at my list and it's like, how much of it am I being true to my soul, my heart of gamer hearts, versus like what's a more interesting list? And I tried to be as true as possible.
I did too.
Okay, so you're not just messing with people.
I'm not just
These are
looking
le-
for attention.
These are
gonna-
legitimately bad choices.
Some extreme
Yeah, that's
BS
right.
here coming
They're
up,
bad
man.
choices and they're my bad choices.
All right.
All right.
Take it away,
Bad
dude.
choice number 1.
Number 10, Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah!
That just came out.
There's a
years
little
ago.
freak boy. Now, this is not even that.
Wait, but you just got into it like a couple weeks ago,
2
right?
months ago now.
Come on.
I've heard you.
That
I've
does
heard
seem
you.
unreasonable.
You've been on that hype train for a while. You said the phrase
2 months he's been on that hype train.
Oh yeah, 2 thorough months. But you said like it's my favorite multiplayer experience ever.
And I've played enough to know this is superior.
Wow. I know I'm giving you a lot of crap, but if you love that game, I'm happy for you too.
Thanks, man.
What is it about it, Leo? What has tickled your little tummy?
The controls are perfect. It plays amazing. The interplay between operators is super interesting. There's a steep learning curve, but once you get over it and you're, communicating with your team, there's really nothing like it. There's another game later on my list that it reminded me of that I like more.
Except
So we'll see that.
I like that pick though. I do. I like the recent pick. It's good.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's truly some of the most fun I've had in a long time.
Truly
It's such a
outrageous.
weird game too, just pricing wise, because the Steam version is only $15. They have like this kind of basic set, whereas on consoles it's much more expensive, maybe like double, maybe even over that. They don't have that starter set. And do you think the console version will ever drop to that price so more people can get on board for this cool thing?
Yeah, at some point. But also the starter edition is in some ways kind of a scam.
Oh, really?
It ends up being hundreds of hours to unlock everybody. So really just spring for the standard edition. I guess I would like to say that in a public forum. Just spring for the standard edition if you're going to get it.
Yeah.
But they're talking about changing the way it's priced, and I think it will go cheaper to get more people into it and onto the buying operators.
Right. And
System.
that's not too aggressive? You don't feel nickel and dime for those operators?
I didn't think so. They came out a good clip. I got a couple boosters. I put a little more money into it once I learned how much I liked it.
Oh, Dan, are you a Siege guy?
Nope.
Have you ever played it?
Very briefly.
Okay, but like I assume that you're just like the embodiment of a PC. You like those old
So I'm
commercials.
not going to I can't take a hard line on this either way because I haven't played a whole lot of it.
No,
so.
I know, but like, did you play the old Rainbow Six games?
Yeah. But they're very different from Siege, right? Siege is
Right,
more-
right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you enjoyed those old ones,
They were very cool at the time. Like, I don't think they've aged well.
and I can quote you on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was like
Writing it down.
you could get
Back of
outshot
the box.
once and
Back
you
of
would
the box,
die
buddy.
in those old Rainbow Six games, right? Which I was
They're pretty
sort of
hardcore.
crazy.
Yeah.
And you still get put down in one headshot from anything.
Yeah. That's cool.
It is very fun. Great
Sounds
pick,
scary.
Leo. Hell of a pick.
So good.
Similar vein, very similar. I had a tough one because
Wait, are you giving us your number 10?
I am giving you my number 10, where I'm still not in love with the single player. I think there's moments that are lovable, but in terms of like multiplayer fun and laughing at a game, Jackbox might take it now. But before Jackbox, which didn't make my list, which is very sad, this is the game that I laughed the most at with friends or at friends. And it is Perfect Dark for the Nintendo 64. The multiplayer of Perfect Dark is so much fun. Just getting 4 good buddies in a room, grabbing those lovable weirdo controllers, Dantech, smiling, laughing, putting an alien head on some lady's body, and every time you get shot, like the weird alien voices.
How much they love Joanna Dark.
Yes, Elvis is in there. Just the mixing and matching of different bodies, different heads, different maps. I think the FPS with the coolest arsenal of weapons of all time. I've talked about it way too much on this podcast. Between like the Mauler, the Farsight, the Slayer, the Phoenix, the Falcon 2, laptop gun, not even to mention the remote mines and all the fun you could have with GoldenEye in and of itself, including 3 maps from GoldenEye. Such a joy, Dan Tack. I feel like I'm trying to convince you in particular that I'm not an idiot with this choice.
I knew that was going to be on your list.
It didn't make a 300, tell you that much.
I knew that it was going to be on your list. I just, as a GoldenEye guy, it's very difficult for me to see that game beating it in this kind of context.
How would you defend GoldenEye over Perfect Dark? It's just a better version of everything GoldenEye was.
I think I like the spy element of GoldenEye.
Well, sure, if you're into spies, and if you like single-player campaigns, that makes sense.
That's what you sound like, Kyle.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard an echo.
Multiplayer-wise, still so much fun, and there's that weirdo port that 4J did to the Xbox 360, which is fine. You know, they stripped out the ability to swap heads, which is frustrating. And they included crap like Peter Moore instead of Miyamoto. And they took out Reiner from the game, so who can really love it that much?
That's the real reason.
Yeah, but Perfect Dark, number 10.
All right.
Thank you so much, Kyle.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Number 9 is Inside from Playdead.
Recent.
I already have it on. It's already made its way to my top 10.
It might
have been Limbo a couple years ago, but Inside has supplanted that as a superior experience. It's more affecting.
Since it was so recent, I want to know, maybe we even talked about it on the podcast when you first reviewed it, but
yeah.
How weird is that to play a game for review before you've seen other scores out there, and then you start to think, wait, how much do I love this game? Is this in my top 10 of all time? Is this one of the best games ever? Did you rub my lamp?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It was. I loved it so much. It's one of the few games that I just instantly restarted playing like the second it was over, and like it was. The ending of that game just like had me in awe. Like I was just sitting in a dark room in silence for like 5-10 minutes, just like trying to figure out what I just experienced
and where
like,
the light switch was.
That was part of it, but I don't want to go into that. But then like it's also another kind of like reason it's personally relevant to me is because I had it early and I got to review it early. I went through the process of finding all the secrents, and I even did the game's biggest puzzle without any online assistance whatsoever, and that was super satisfying. And I think I would have caved and tried to look it up had I played it after it officially released.
I don't know much about you, Kyle, but what I do know is that you're the master of taking artsy, beautiful games and then rigging them for all the achievements and secrets you can out of it, just trying to just ruin that beautiful experience.
It's just that I want to continue to be in that world. I like having excuses to keep playing a game that I really adore, and Inside was certainly one of those. And I've replayed it multiple times since it came out.
You know what's a cool moment in Inside? Trick question.
The entirety of it?
Yeah. I like just the simple, well, I love a lot of things in that game, but just the moment where you're going over that fence and trying to time it with the dogs who have to run all the way around.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is that like those dogs just rip the bejesus out of your skin?
They have to be scary for sure.
Yeah.
There's also like a little thing, like this is so minor, but like there's a gate when you walk into the cornfield that you can either just walk through and he opens it, or you can jump over it, I think, or you can even crawl under it. And every single one of those animations is so good. And it doesn't, and it's just like little things like that. Like they were careful to acknowledge every way somebody might attack, even something as small as like jumping over a gate. It's an incredible game.
It's one of the most rock solid feeling games of all time.
Yeah.
Like you forget that, hey, there's code running and these things should be clipping through each other, but it just feels so sturdy. It's such a weird vibe.
Like maybe even the 9th best game of all time, I would say.
It might be. Might be. Dan Tack, number 9, baby.
Number 9. My number 9.
Mighty number 9.
It is definitely not that game. That shouldn't be anywhere near a list.
I played that the other night. PS Plus.
Wow.
It is Final Fantasy Tactics.
Dan Tactics.
Interesting.
That's right. Just an incredible fantasy game. I think a gateway for a lot of people who don't usually like tactics games into that genre.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just an astonishing and great game, like massive game. Tons of unlocks, tons of stuff to do. Just great story and great tactical gameplay. I mean, it really just sells itself.
Yeah, and you think the gameplay holds up well?
Today, yeah, it still does, because there hasn't been another, I mean, unless you count like which I don't, So
Count the multiple sequels of Final Fantasy Tactics.
right.
You don't like the advanced games?
They're okay.
Okay.
They're okay. They're good. They're good, but they're not great.
Is this why you're so hostile towards Final Fantasy 12 because you love the tactics version
No.
of Ivalice?
No, I've very much clarified my position on 12. There's many reasons why I hate 12.
Yeah. I can't believe you had to do it in front of the Senate though. That was
There was I had a huge glass of water, just like kept pouring. Right.
right.
The questions kept coming, and I wasn't sweating though, because I was
Oh.
ready to handle those answers.
Cool as a cucumber.
Is Tactics available like on iOS or Steam or anything?
It is.
Yeah.
on iOS.
Okay?
I forget about the Steam
iOS.
version.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay.
But
There's a way to play it today if you.
There is. There's a lot of debate about what the best version to play it is. I mean, between War for the Lions and
Right.
did they remake it for Vita?
PSP, right?
Yeah, it's on those platforms I don't play, so I don't know.
Those freaky PlayStation handheld thingers.
The
yeah.
Leo Vaders of platforms.
Yeah. Do people care about the storyline for Tactics? I feel like no one ever talks about it.
Well, I feel like it's better than a lot of the modern Final Fantasy stories.
Wow,
It's got some depth to it. It's really not the most interesting part of the game. I mean, it's really all about the mechanics and getting new characters and classes and jobs and seeing how everything plays out together.
Yeah.
Cool bosses, cool environments. But it's not a bad story.
Sure.
It's very traditional, but it's solid. It's certainly better than I could list off 7 Final Fantasies.
We don't need to bash their friends. Come on, man.
No need to do that.
Do you get Cloud Strife in that game every time you play it?
I actually, when I'm going through these days, which I don't think I haven't played it in like years. All right, but
Okay.
I try to stay away from the OP characters. Like, just it makes the game more interesting. If
Oh, the cameo characters are OP?
yeah, extreme.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
I mean, in a lot of cases, yeah, like the hangers on, the ones that you can get for your group, like they're really strong.
Wow. I love it. Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah,
There we go.
number 9.
Leo Vader.
Number 9 is Rock Band 3.
3! Yeah, keyboard man?
I know this
Keyboard
list
was-
is gonna get hot.
Super fun.
Well, you do play keyboard in real life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
I can like read sheet music slowly,
Didn't you play keyboard in a band for a while?
Yeah. I wasn't that good at it.
But he kept yelling out from the back, slow down, slow down! So he could try and read the sheet
I can't
music.
read the music.
So did you bring all your Rock Band 1 and 2 music forward into 3 and treat that as like this is the best version that has all my music in it or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Smart.
absolutely. It was the pinnacle of that for me. Me and my friend group at the time were super into all of them, and that was just like there's nothing worse than the previous games in it. it's just better in every way. The new instrument is fun.
Yeah.
Loved it.
God, so much fun. Top songs to go to. Say it's like your turn to sing.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Okay.
Queens of Stone Age, right?
Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was originally in 1, but you could bring that stuff over.
Yeah.
Black Hole Sun, if you're playing drums.
Really?
What a great song.
Yeah.
What about this trap? Because I love James Brown a fair amount, and it always is tempting to sing the James Brown songs because like, oh, James Brown, that's so much fun. But then in Rock Band, it's like the karaoke trap where it's just like, all right, now we got 14 seconds of just random, yeah, get up now. Like trying to like read what they're putting on the screen when he's just like freestyling it and feeling it. But it's like someone improvising quickly and then someone transcribing that and making someone else then record that. It's just a weird vibe to try and hit
trying
those
to get
notes.
all the trophies or achievements into like an art game.
Yes, it's exactly like the
Get up
James
now.
Brown experience.
That's right. I like it.
Sterilizes the whole thing.
Also, Airbrushed by Anna Minaguchi was a DLC song that was just like only 3 instruments, I think. But it was just the most fun to just play over and over again.
Yeah. Do you
Most
still go
fun to
back and
shred.
play that game?
No, it's so hard to set up.
It is such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it's-
Get up now.
for those that can't see, Dan Tech has actually ridden a horse into the podcast studio and he's slowly circling the microphone
Like James Brown used to.
with a shotgun firing at the ceiling. Wow, great choice, Leo. I love that choice.
Thank you. It's very important to me.
Beatles Rock Band barely didn't make my cut. It was on the list for a while, just in terms of like, man, thank God for that experience. When would you ever go up in front of your family or a group of friends and just sing Twist and Shout again and again and again and again? The fact that a game can make us do that, an experience that's amazing that you otherwise would never have, come on, give it up for games.
It's not too late to make number 9.
Yeah, come on, guys. Like
your
games.
Beatles pick. Your number 9.
Yeah, you know what? But I can't
Number
because
9.
there's a certain game that ever since I played it, the original mod version back in the day, because I'm pretty hardcore about it, and then the official release, was playing it, enjoying it, and that slowly climbed the ranks of just I appreciate that game more and more with each passing day. It was once described by a reviewer who I don't recall, but it's a very good take. They called it gaming's final exam, which I love that idea. The game is
is
Beatles Rock Band. No. Stanley Parable.
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I just adore that game. In terms of like, it's fun not only to have like a twisty weirdo game on this list, but in terms of just a game that is fascinating, that can only be done in games. And this is a dopey thing to say, but I think really only gamers can fully appreciate how clever that game is. Dan Tack will
Just
not
gamer
agree.
things.
Yeah,
Only
exactly.
only 90s kids will get this.
Yeah, it's wild too that game hasn't made it over to PS4 or Xbox One in some way. It's just stuck on Steam. But not to spoil anything, but even the inclusion of like the games that it jumps to within that game is just so wildly unpredictable. Everybody knows what Stanley Parable is, right? Should we set it up? Here's the basic.
I don't know if you should. The more you say about it,
I agree. Here's the basic setup, and it's all extrapolated from this. And I absolutely love that idea. You're in an office. It's setting up the scenario. You're Stanley. There's a narrator guiding you through, a very friendly British voice. Feels very little Hitchhiker's-y in a way in the start, right? Mm-hmm. You walk out of the office in the beginning, and there's 2 doors in the office, and the narrator says, Stanley, you walk to the door on the left. And then that's it. And then
go from there.
And you go from there, and just that base level decision of, all right, there's 2 doors. The narrator clearly said I should go through this door. What if? And just imagine that multiplied by until the world is ending. And
It's a very cool experience.
It's
for
so
sure.
cool.
And it's like Dan was saying, like it's best to just go in with knowing as little as possible. Just go check. Like the best recommendation you can give it is like, hey, check this game out. It's cool.
If you like games,
yeah,
go play Stanley Parable and
if you
think
like
for a while.
final exams, then you'll love.
Kyle, number 8.
Number 8. My number 8 is a multiplayer game. I'm gonna do the Hansen mode where I kind of lay it out a little
really?
bit
Are we
first.
doing this?
It's tense, man. I'm on the edge of my seat when Kyle's talking about multiplayer.
Well, the reason I say that is because like I don't think there are any other multiplayer games on my list. I'm not a big multiplayer guy generally. I like single player experiences, but my number 8 is Halo Combat Evolved.
Yes.
Because of that multiplayer experience and basically keeping a permanent LAN party in my brother's bedroom who was away at college, and we would play Halo all night, like every day of the week, weekends. We developed our own jargon for different weapons and power ups and stuff like
what?
that.
Was it offensive?
No, like invisibility we would call Invisalign, and we had, if you got a shotgun, you grabbed the Nicolas Cage. It's very stupid things like that, but it's just that like it's just the idea of like having a series of in jokes with your friends based all around this game, and like I've never really enjoyed a multiplayer experience as much as I have for those memories of playing Halo with that group of friends, like in late high school and early
I'm
college.
totally with you. It was huge for me in high school as well. We had like a projector set up, and our one rich friend in town had like this sweet setup for everybody, and we would just go there after school, day after day after day after day, just playing Halo Combat Evolved. Halo 1 in particular. Like Halo 2 was great in its own way. There's something magical about being forced to system link it with Halo 1 though that I just absolutely adored.
Yeah, I mean, just that's always the matter of just being in the same room and like having opposing TVs and like being able to try to whisper scenarios while the other team's like right behind you. And I love that. It's funny because I used to. I mean, it's number 8 on my favorite games of all time, but like I really kind of backed away from Halo over the years, and I didn't even finish 5. But man, I love Halo 1. I have a lot of great memories.
I've been meaning to ask you this. What is the worst map in Halo 1?
The worst is the one with the portals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. Which portals?
Is there another one? With
Well, there's portals in a lot of maps, but there's 2.
The ones that just like it feels like a straight up maze.
Yes,
And it's like it's impossible
100%.
to tell where you are.
Yeah, I thought for a second you were going for like the one where it's like the 2 ships in space that are kind of
it's
like the
okay.
ant colonies, and you warp between them.
But yeah, like Hang 'em High, Midship, and all that stuff. Well, Midship was just Halo 2, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it is,
Yeah. But Hang 'em High, one of my favorite maps of all time. Period.
Absolutely. Pistols only hang them high. Oh,
that's what I've been saying.
You won't stop saying
We
that.
need to get that done.
All right.
Hang 'em High is great.
Kyle, sincerely, we're off mic now. If you ever want to play Halo 1, I'd be super down for that.
Okay.
I'm busy.
Dan Tag, number 8.
Number 8. Well, this is a game goes way back. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give you the number.
Do it.
Instead of this insane exposition you guys like to do.
I like it.
This is a great game, and I'm sure everyone at the table will actually agree with this one. It is Super Mario World.
It's no Donkey Kong Country.
This is it's
No
an
World 2.
insanely great game. I mean, really brought Mario to life. I mean, obviously 3 was already incredible. 2 was great. Even the original was all right.
Keep going.
And then this thing just really brought everything together. It was accessible by everybody. It looked great. You got Yoshi in there.
It's hard as F, though.
I
I know everyone played it like 1,000
really
times
easy.
when they were 8. No, it's not easy.
I went back and played on the SNES.
I
Classic.
also went back and just beat that game for the first time last year and had a hell of a time getting through it.
Okay, well, the core game isn't that hard, but doing the extras can be a little tricky.
Yeah. I think
And
everyone
that's-
just memorized it as a kid, but I totally hear you.
All right, well, I certainly wouldn't say like this. We're not even arguing about this. We're arguing about the best games of all time. But like, it's hard. It's easier than. It's easier than 3.
I don't know. I think
easier. It's definitely easier than 2.
In any case, it was an incredible way to introduce like a new console. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for
to,
sure.
to bring that and the Super Nintendo into your household, like just changed everything.
Yeah. Are you still a Mario guy, Dan?
No.
What about New Super Mario Brothers?
3D Marios have been, as everyone at this table knows, they don't do anything for me.
Okay.
But you could argue that Mario 64 brought Mario to life for the first time.
I could, but
Super Mario Brothers movie, really.
But that game's not on my list, so I wouldn't argue that.
Mario World. Do you worry about nostalgia being a factor? I know this is your official greatest games of all time.
I did, but then, like I said, over Christmas break, I was playing it.
Would you give yourself a lobotomy
really
first? Like, you still feel it, and you can't separate yourself from...
No, I know.
I mean, that's true.
Because there have been plenty of games I go back to where I'm like, oh, this is not as good as I remember it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you go back to it and you're like, this is as good as I remember it.
We went back to a game today on replay that I don't know when that's getting posted, so I'm not going to say what it was, but it does not hold up.
Right.
Okay, so like that's a factor. Like, sure, nostalgia is always going to be a thing. You can't get rid of it, but I think when you go back and play it and can still appreciate it, I think that's important.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Leo Vader, number 8, man.
Hell yeah. Number 8 is a little game I like to call Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Tom Clancy boy over here.
Yes,
So he's
the
got-
second of 9 Tom Clancy games.
I'm seeing
I
a
have on my
pattern
list.
here emerging.
Yeah,
Interesting. Blacklist.
he's a smart man.
Wow. Why Blacklist?
To me, it's the pinnacle of like stealth action. It capitalizes on the promise that every stealth demo at E3 has ever said of playing your own way, you know? Go loud or go quiet. But in Splinter Cell Blacklist, it's like go loud or go quiet lethal or quiet non-lethal or quiet sneak around and nobody even sees you or quiet like technology heavy.
Yeah, that's a great example of a game where it's like, other than the Sam Fisher voice acting, it's a game where it's like, hey fans, we're giving you everything you want. We're giving a big push behind our Splinter Cell game. Does anybody care? It seems like people were like, yeah, it's great, okay. And just kind of moved on. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Phantom Pain like squashed the hype for it too early, and that's why people don't talk about it more, but
That's possible.
it seemed like that should be the Splinter Cell game, and people don't really talk about it anymore.
It's an incredible game, and the co-op missions are some of the most fun I've had playing co-op ever. The online multiplayer is really good. The Spies versus Mercs mode they brought back from earlier games.
Yeah. The UI is cool. It's very in your face, all over the place.
Yeah, tons of loadout options.
Yeah.
Really pretty, like great environments.
Speaking of pretty, great environments, if you want to see Leo and I playing Splinter Cell Blacklist at his house before Leo was hired at Game Informer, search the internet. It's on there, man.
Search the internet sometime.
Internet.com?
Internet.com.
All right, well, this
Eating all
is
the
a
Ritz.
thing. All right.
Oh, yeah. Great choice, man.
Yeah, you had to
Leo.
fight for that one for the 300 too.
Yes, I
Oh,
was glad
really?
it got on there.
Yeah.
What was that discussion like? I don't think I was there for that one.
I think it was Andy just didn't want it
Whoa.
for whatever reason.
Oh, it's good. It's lettuce.
You want to explain the lettuce thing, Dan?
I don't want to. Do
What?
you?
No, you should.
I think it's too inside baseball.
Well, it's not if you explain it.
I'm deliberately not explaining it.
Okay, there's certain games that Andy McNamara was arguing, like, you can't take wizardry off this list. It's like it's a cheeseburger. The list is a cheeseburger, and certain things are a staple in the cheeseburger. The lettuce is like wizardry. And so every once in a while, you try and pick a game off the list, and Andy'd be like, that's the lettuce! You can't take the lettuce!
And
That
I
was
turned
it.
into Seinfeld for some reason.
See, that's why I wanted him to explain it.
On the live stream podcast, by the way, I believe Andy does talk about Blacklist. If you want to scroll.
Oh,
through there.
really?
I think so. I believe he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Leo's giving me a
says
look.
well, actually, we talked about it on the first episode of the Replay 300 with Super Metroid.
Oh,
I
there
was
we
like,
go.
that's
Okay.
the one I really wanted to get on the list. And he was like, yeah, I kind of regret that being on the list. Really? That's what he said. Yeah.
But Leo loves games where you plan out people's murders. So that's
I do.
something
It's
I've learned
great.
about him.
Play co-op with me sometime, Andy. I'll show you what a fun game is.
Okay, all right, buddy. All right. My number 8. Dan Tech, you're not going to believe this one.
I don't know.
Now,
Build it up.
I think I'll believe it.
We've talked about Rock Band, talked about Beatles Rock Band.
Great intro.
Okay.
We've talked about music games that are fun to play.
Okay.
Nice.
Don't do this.
But in terms
Slower.
of music games that are pinnacle of music game gameplay, Dan.
Okay.
Draw it out.
He has.
Because you can hit the notes as they come towards you. There's the skill factor with
There's all
music
kinds
games.
of stuff you can do in music
There's
games.
how fast can your fingers move? How
good
eyes,
is the soundtrack?
How close are you listening to it?
I can't wait.
More words.
But
punch all in the
what if there
mind.
was a game released on the PlayStation 2 in 2001, Dan,
Okay.
that took the music game playing experience and turned it into a finely crafted, high score, strategic, skill fest, infinite skill ceiling, love fest, crazy techno soundtrack?
Surely that game doesn't exist, Hanson.
It does. It's my number 8. They released it on store shelves. Frequency from Leo did a spit take for this, audio listeners. Dan,
Great choice.
like Frequency, early harmonics game. Again, I've over-explained it too much, but in terms of like strategically going for a high score in a music game, it is so much fun. And a lot of Amplitude fans out there, there's something beautiful about the tunnel structured Frequency where you can rotate between different instruments. You're matching a pattern, playing basically, imagine like a rock band, except each instrument is its own separate track going around a tunnel, and then you lock off each instrument and it locks for a little bit, then you move on to the other. But trying to chain that with the power-ups to go for high scores, it's such a novel experience. Like when I first played that, it was on a demo disc on the PS2, and my mind was blown. But like, what? I've never played anything like this. I played your Parappa, and like, it's fine. There's some cute stuff in there, but let's get real. The gameplay itself for Parappa isn't that interesting, but I think Frequency is endlessly interesting. Amplitude on PS4, you can convert it so that it has the tunnel structure for Frequency. I still think that game is wildly underrated. But Frequency on PS2, Dan Tack. You dirty dog.
That's
I appreciate the fact that you like that game. I can't fathom it being on a top 10 of all time list.
Have you played it?
I have not actually played it. I have seen it in action. Is that fair?
The story's full of holes.
Does it have to be?
You have to
hands-on?
feel it, because as Harmonix has mentioned 1,000 times, there's something about, as they call the flow state of playing that game, where you get in the groove. It's the first game that it really tripped me out, right? Where you're playing it for a very long time. If you pause it, when you stop playing, literally the room is like pushing itself away. I think Rock Band has it if you've played it for a long time as well, where like your eyes are effed up because you were so in the zone of watching these notes come down so quickly.
So it's like being on a treadmill and then you stop.
It's like being on PCP.
Okay.
On a treadmill.
Well, I guess that has to be one of the top gaming experiences of all time. So
thank you.
I give the credit.
Kyle Hilliard, what do you got, man?
PCP editor, Dan Tack.
We're on 7 now, right?
Yeah, number 7.
My number 7 is Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Super Mario Galaxy. The best 3D Mario, I think.
Sure.
I really adore that game. Like, I love Mario 64. I liked Super Mario Sunshine. But, man, like, I feel like Galaxy took the idea, like, it's a platformer, and I feel like Galaxy changed the way you approach that, the namesake of that genre of platforms. And the first time I long jumped off like a small planet and just like went into orbit and then landed back around, it's just stunning. And it's so, and I remember there was a level early on where you're kind of, everything's like food themed.
Yeah.
It was really hard. And I remember being like, well, I guess I'm going to have to play like, you know, a bunch more of these style of levels. And you never did. Like every single level in that game is just this amazing one-off experience, and I love that game. I even like the motion controls. I like the sort of physical nature of like whipping to make Mario spin to kind of get like a further jump or to attack. Like, it just felt really good, and I really love that game. And I love Galaxy 2 a lot, and I really like Odyssey and 3D World, but none of those have topped the first time I played Galaxy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Here, I feel like we're falling into a rut, and you guys should tell me to shut the F up if we fall into it too much. But if like people say their picks, then I get nitpicky about like, yeah, but what about? So with Galaxy, also great, one of the greatest games of all time, without a doubt. I feel like so many people spent so much time in kind of that end game, collecting all the little bits and boops along the way. They forget when you start a new game, there's so much talking. Starfy and Rosalina never shut up. That game is aggressive with the walls of text it throws at you.
Yes, but I'm like the guy that like reviews all the Pokemon games, so like I deal with walls of text all the time. Like, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, and it always sucks. If you strip out all the talking from that game, then it probably would have made my top 10. But it's a nightmare.
Really?
To go through.
You could just
It is a
click through that.
living nightmare. I'd rather light myself on effing fire than just listen to Rosalina talk about the launch pad that became activated on Sector 4.
You don't like having some world building for that?
I'm okay with a little bit. I feel like you go to the hub area.
Why are
you
you
get
so
the idea.
mad at me?
Because you wrote it like
I
an
love
asshole.
Super Mario Galaxy. That's a great game, and I don't appreciate you being so nitpicky.
No,
If there's no story in a Mario, what's the point?
Great choice, Kyle. Great soundtrack. We can't let it fly without it. Oh, here's another point to bring up. I was playing Super Mario Odyssey with Tim Turry recently when he was in town for the 300th party. And there's a section in Super Mario Odyssey where you're 2D Mario, and it has like the red and the blue, where if you go too far up, it shifts gravity to go onto the ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, oh, if you break this threshold, then you do that down, which is also in Galaxy. There's sections like that. Tim, of all the arguments to make, Tim's like, oh, that's a reference to Mega Man 5, some obscure boss thing. It's like, no, it's a reference to Super Mario Galaxy from the same team. He's like, no, I think it's a Mega Man 5 reference. What is that in Odyssey? Is it a Mega Man 5 reference, or is it obviously a Mario Galaxy reference?
Obviously Mario Galaxy.
Yes.
They did it in follow-up games too.
Exactly.
It's in 3D World.
Yes.
And Galaxy 2.
Yes. If you're listening, shut up, Tim.
Leading question.
He's in Capcom's pocket.
It's gross,
Or
dude.
whatever you call it. Is that the target phrase?
You got it. Dan Tech, what do you got,
Hello.
man? Number 7.
Number 7. We are just flying along here.
Hell yeah.
Well, let me tell you a story about a game.
This is interesting.
Not too many games are
Hanson
this
doesn't
good.
like too much story, so
Yeah.
be careful.
Let's get right to the point. It is Diablo 2.
Ah!
It is. Just an incredible multiplayer experience. I mean, the first one, had some semblance of that, but like this was a game that you played with other people. You farmed loot like crazy. You came up with different builds and templates. You couldn't swap on the fly like you can in Diablo 3.
Yeah.
You had to commit to a build, and you'd have to be working on that for weeks even. Great boss fights. Just probably the ultimate distillation of what we now know as the loot grind in many, many other games.
Yeah.
Man.
Man.
Great character concepts, incredible expansion. Just that game is addictive as hell.
Love that game.
There's a Necromancer. Mm-hmm. There's the Barbarian.
There is. You
What
gonna
else?
try to get them all?
No, I can't get them all. Warlock?
No Warlock.
Okay, what else
Assassin.
you got? Assassin.
Assassin is one of them.
Okay,
That was an
fantastic.
expansion class.
Yep.
And then in terms of bosses, there's Diablo.
Sure.
The
In
Butcher.
the base game.
Butcher's a real sun gun. Right? He's in 2, isn't he?
Is he in 2?
Yeah.
Is he in 2?
Pretty sure. I haven't even seen 1.
I don't know if he's in 2.
I'm pretty sure Butcher's in 2.
He's
But
in 1 and 3. I don't know if he's in 2.
really? God, I don't think I'm thinking of 1. But what are your memories of playing it? Did you get like a group of friends together and go to town?
Players 8 to simulate 8 people in a game so you get better loot. You go and do Pindle Skin and ball runs all night. Just keep doing them over and over. And I played on hardcore mode, right? So if your character died once, you were dead forever.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, back then we still had like internet lag problems. So like, if that happened and your character just started like walking in place, you would fear for your life. And you come back, you'd log back into BattleNet, and you'd see a ghost there, and be like, "Wow, there goes my level 80 Necromancer."
Oh
Jeez.
my God.
He was a good man. I guess it's time to start a new one.
Were you big on? I had some friends who were like super into the auction house of its time of like selling items and stuff.
I
on
was
the
definitely
side.
because there was like all kinds of hacking was rampant back then.
Yeah.
And there was real PvP, which I also enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
Like that game, you could, especially on hardcore mode, you kill a man, they're gone, right? You had an ear collection. I had several ear mules, as they were called.
Ear mules.
Several characters that would just hold ears of good people that I wanted to keep around after I
What
killed
would
them.
you do with those?
They tell you the level and the name of the person you killed. Sort of
What
like
are you
it's a
talking
trophy.
about?
When you killed somebody, you got their ear.
So you just would walk around as an ear mule and brag about
No, the ear
human-
mules are where you store the ears so that you don't lose them after
I'm
your
gonna
character died.
effing puke, Dan.
It's just an ear. It's a
Oh,
little
just an ear?
One slot item.
Wait
That
a
would be
minute.
Like the ear of X.
What's in your
Ben
pocket?
Hansen.
Leo, look in his pocket. It's full of human ears. It's ears.
It's full of human ears.
But yeah, you'd store those on an alternate character, like a bank.
Ear bank.
Yeah.
We get it. That's amazing, Dan. Great choice. I'm glad Diablo 2 got some love on this table. Leo Vader, number 7.
This is maybe my most nostalgia-y pick,
Oh,
Here we go.
but I do love it dearly, and it is still fun to play. A little game called Tony Hawk's American Wasteland.
American Wasteland.
There's no way I expected that to be on this list.
Help me. This isn't Underground.
Leo's killing
What
me.
generation is Wasteland? I can never keep
This is
crap
Underground 3. After Underground 2, before Project 8, last one.
And
Okay.
did you play this with a mouse and keyboard?
No, it didn't come out on computer.
straight. Hang
or
on,
not Mac.
What is
anyway.
that a reference to?
Did you throw darts at a board to create your list?
I've beaten this game maybe more than any other game I've ever played.
I learned recently, you can tell the story, but I can't, Leo, but like one of your first games, is that right, was playing Tony Hawk on a Mac computer?
Yeah.
With a keyboard?
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
On a keyboard, that's right.
That's weird.
You're trying to
didn't-
simulate the skateboard experience on your space bar and stuff?
Well, I just played the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 demo, and I didn't have a controller. And then later I did get a controller, but I was so used to the controls on keyboard, I just played 2, 3, and 4 like that.
Oh.
Okay, so American
Gross
Wasteland,
time.
open world Tony Hawk, right?
Yes.
Like
it was the
not
first one
like-
that was like, oh, seamless open world, but there was like these long runs in between every level.
Oh, okay, because like Tony Hawk 4 was the first like where you didn't have just 2 minutes in a level. You could like walk around the level. But American Wasteland was what, like one gigantic America themed level.
Yeah, what was the...
right?
Why did they call it American
It was
Wasteland?
an American type wasteland, and you had this empty lot you were building the skate park on throughout the whole game. So all your missions fed back into getting new pieces for the skate ranch.
Oh, really? It's like a Dark Cloud thing where you're like building up your town?
Yeah.
That's
And just
awesome.
by the end, you just have this incredible skate park with just like thousands of attractions and stuff that you like remember from points in the story.
Yeah.
Like a Ferris wheel, this T-Rex you knock over, a T-Rex head, you know?
Oh, it's like Batman with that T-Rex.
Oh.
That's amazing.
It's
That's
just
a
so
weird
fun to
pick.
play, and it had like parkour when you're running around on the ground. You could like run up walls and climb up buildings. It was the most fun to be on your feet that series ever got.
Yeah.
Wow. What was it on?
It was on Xbox, like original generation is where I played it. It's also
Okay.
PS2, GameCube.
I think.
And it came out Xbox 360
Yeah, that's what I was
too,
gonna say.
actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's weird. American Wasteland.
Everyone's
Man.
favorite Tony Hawk.
They never
I would
stop
just
talking
beat it
about
over and over again to see how fast I could beat it
Oh, wow.
on sick difficulty.
That's pretty cool.
That's nice.
Y'all want an autograph? Or-
I think so. My number 7, Dantech. Stop me.
Am
if
I
you heard
going
this
to
one.
be floored by this one?
No, it's just one of the best games of all time, and
God.
it was the last one that I thought of. Oh crap! How did I not make room for this?
Okay.
Because it's very tough to think of all these games, and you're like going system
It
by
is. It is
system. Like, what did I
difficult.
play the most?
yeah.
And this is one of those where it's like it almost represents the larger series in a way, but really
right.
this is pinnacle.
I'm kind
right?
of worried whenever it's like this represents the larger.
Leo's chugging.
I don't want to see this again.
A little game I
really
like to
don't.
call Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Melee, specifically.
I don't think that picks weird at all.
Oh, really?
Good one.
Musical guest Koji Kondo.
So is that the
Good
one
pick.
you've played the most between the original
God,
Melee Brawl, 3DS, 4 Wii U?
I did not play much of the 3DS version other than the demo, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Compared to in high schools when it came out, we all just loved it, and then in college there was a crazy renaissance where we would play it every single day. That was like the main way I bonded with my weirdo roommates freshman year. Such a blast, and just think of like Nintendo. 2003 when it came out. The first Smash Brothers was great. Pretty tough to go back to, and like there's some options in there that are okay, but in terms of just the options available in Melee for Nintendo, a company known for trying to streamline and curate the experience for all of its players, and then the Smash Brothers series is just here's every knob dial you can twist, set this game up any way you want. It's just a history lesson for all of Nintendo bundled down on one disc. And I just remember like the weird stuff in Melee. It's the first time I saw it where it's like, what, you can just set it to slow-mo fights, and then it becomes like this bizarre kind of strategy game where it's just slow motion. Did you guys ever get into slow-mo fights in Smash?
Mr. Game & Watch.
Well, I don't think he was in that one.
Then it's,
Wait, was he?
It's not a good one then.
Was he?
I think.
Was
he?
in Watch
Fake fan?
Brawl?
Was he?
Oh, hang on. Robbie in the booth, intern. He says, yeah, it was in Melee.
Okay.
Was.
That
Oh,
his
wow. There we
introduction.
go. I thought you were an Ice Climbers man, Dan Tag.
Oh no, I'm Mr.
Okay.
Game & Watch.
All right, and it's Melee, I played a lot of Young Link. It seemed to definitely be a way
He
to
was
go.
the best.
It was very fun.
The thing that blew my mind about that game was just how the roster expanded so much. Like with
Yes.
Smash was like 8.
Right.
Yeah.
And of the 8 most iconic Nintendo characters, they chose Jigglypuff to throw in there. It's
Yeah.
like, oh boy, what are
And
you guys
Captain
doing?
Falcon, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah,
loves Captain
yeah,
Falcon.
Falcon Punch and all that. But Melee and continuing through today, the fact that game played so well, and people are still playing it at Evo, it's still around after all these years.
And it's like a great testament to the quality of any game that it's just like such a part of my life without me even owning it just for years. Like,
Yeah.
Before there were games as services or anything, that game just stuck around because it was so good. And
It's a
everybody
service to
loved it.
mankind.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Games as service to mankind.
Kai Hoyo, number 6, man.
Number 6.
Number 6. Oh my god.
Number 6.
Dan, you understand the numbers are counting down. I don't know why this is starting.
That's the lowest number yet.
I know.
I was talking a little bit about this earlier about like maybe a game in a larger franchise that isn't generally considered to be the best, but is my personal favorite, and that is Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty.
Yes.
I love Metal Gear Solid 1. I love Metal Gear Solid 3. I played Metal Gear Solid 4. I love Metal Gear Solid 5. But 2 just changed everything. Like just the way, like I wasn't even like following it super closely, so it wasn't like the twist that you played as Raiden didn't really impact me that much. But I just liked the idea of being another character and interacting with Snake, and just the ending was just mind blowing. Like
Arsenal Gear stuff?
it just like. It just showed me like what the medium of video games could be and how you could react to what, the experience that you're having. And I even remember like, I played Metal Gear Solid 1 and I fought Rex, and that was crazy. And it was one of those moments, I think I was in high school, and someone I was talking to was like, yeah, at the end of the game, you fight like 50 Metal Gear Rays. And I just didn't believe that.
Right,
I was like,
right.
you're so full of it. It took the end boss of Metal Gear Solid 1 was Rex. You can't fight more than one Ray in
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid. And then of course the end is like crazy. You're trying to fight like tons of Rays. I
Just
love that
the
game so
design
much.
of Metal Gear Ray alone, it looks so effing cool.
Yeah, and I love the oil. What are they called? Like
Big
the oil?
Shell.
The big. I love Big Shell. It's so lonely and quiet and weird.
Those
and
seagulls poop everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I love the Metal Gears that keep you in one singular location. Like that's one of the reasons like 4 I didn't love 4 is because
with
you're
you.
kind of globe hopping too much. But
Right.
I love like 1, 2, and 3 where you're kind of just in one place the whole time and you really get to know that place really well. And 2 is my favorite.
Yeah, just a weirdo soundtrack, weirdo story. I was actually just talking about this game last night. I've argued before, I think it's the most interesting game ever made. I'll stand by that.
Yeah,
I can't think of anything that would top it. I still want to do it as a game club at some point.
Maybe Stanley Parable.
That's actually, that's fair. But the discussion was, does that story really make sense? Because I remember right before Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, I replayed 2. That was the last time I replayed 2. And I remember being overwhelmed as a kid when I played it. But when I replayed it, in like 2008 or something, I was like, I'm able to hold, like, it makes sense. Like, the conclusions that eventually get wrapped up with 4 are dumb.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as a self-contained story, not including where the eventual questions get answered and how they get answered into, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. I mean, Kingdom Hearts is like a million times more confusing than that. If you want to talk about like confusing stories, I didn't find 2 that confusing, but I've played it twice in multiple stages of my life. So maybe that I'm, in terms of understanding the story, I'm more looking towards like the second time I played it when it came out in the HD collection.
Yeah.
So
favorite boss fight in 2?
Probably the bomb guy.
Fat man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just because it's so weird. It's like rollerblading around and stuff. So weird.
Well, I can't think of a more efficient way to take out a super soldier like Raiden than by planting bombs and slowly roller skating around a platform.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. Dantak, you a Metal Gear guy?
Not really.
Right on, man. What's your number 6?
No, it's this little game.
Hey.
Secret of Mana.
Secret of Mana.
There it is. The remake.
No, definitely not the remake. But really insane for its time. Like, I think really the first game that did Final Fantasy with action combat. Before
Anyway.
Certainly, and especially the fact that you could play it with 3 people or even just 2 people in a traditional Square RPG way. Great bosses, great music, just great like end game. Like if you want to get the crazy gear and get the sweet weapons and do all the cool fun stuff, everything about that game rules. That game is amazing.
And do you have fond memories of playing a multiplayer
Absolutely.
with your best buds?
Yep.
See, I think it's very important.
I do too, actually, and I've noticed that's. I wanted to bring that up because it's come up actually in several entries that.
We just like our friends. We don't like the games.
No, that I think we're attributing more to the games based on the experiences we had with other
It's true.
people.
No, you're totally right.
Absolutely.
Leo Vader, number 6.
Number 6. I'm a big systems man. I love interlocking systems in games. My number 6 is Heat Signature.
What?
Wait a minute.
Number 6 of all time. That game came out 4
It's like
weeks
a week.
ago.
I know.
The game's not even on sale on Steam yet, Leo. That's an I got to witness you playing that game in real time, so to speak. Every day would come and talk about it, and it's clear that you have a lot of love for that game, and I'm very happy for you.
Clear that you aren't lying, I think is what Kyle's saying right now.
Sixth best game of all time.
That's right. Well, my 6th favorite.
Right.
So the reason I bring up the systems thing is because it's going to come up later in my games higher up on the list.
What is it
But
about
this one-
systems? All right, forget
this one-
in general, though.
Favorite system. Go ahead.
No, like, what is it about systems? You just, like learning and feeling smart?
Like looking at a society in a game that's functioning by itself, like a bunch of different people on different patrols, tons of like, specifically about Heat Signature, the way that the levels are set up.
Yeah.
Because you're going from ship to ship, just making your way to the objective. And the way they make that hard is by gating it with key cards. And so there's a progression to every ship of your going in, there are locked doors preventing you from getting any further. You have to get a key somehow or hack it. And the way that it's set up, I just could never even figure out how it was done, like how they procedurally generated levels like that.
Yeah.
And that's just endlessly fascinating to me as somebody who loves like procedurally generated stuff and roguelikes.
Yeah.
There are some incredible story moments in that game, just of like I jumped through the window, I pulled the guy out with me, I remote controlled my ship to come get me.
Rosalina kept talking.
Kyle, what'd you score that game?
875, I think. So sorry, Leo, but
Hang on, Dan.
No, I was very pleased
you gotta
with that.
push it down your list.
Yeah. Did you not hear that number that Kyle put on that thing? That's good. Dantak was
I like that game.
smiling.
I'm not smiling. I'm just.
He's just
Hey,
happy.
I respect Leo's choices. Like I
But
knew
you're
they
calling BS.
I knew they were going to be wacky. All right, I knew that going in.
I think they make complete sense.
I'm a wacky guy. The gadgets are just genius, unlike anything in any other game. The way the teleporters work, it's just fantastic. It's fun to tool around and do like super different runs with different characters.
Yeah. Hell yeah. My number 6. Maybe you've heard of this one.
Oh, God, don't do
Dantak.
it. Don't
This
do
is
it.
a game.
Amplitude.
One of my most anticipated
coming.
games of all time. I was counting down the days till this one came out. Pokemon Gold and Silver. I'll go specifically with Pokemon Silver.
You know, I was ready to jump on you, but
I thought you were going to say Smash Brothers Brawl right after your Melee.
That'd be fun. Give it rolling.
you're going
Space Emissary
very
specifically.
trad Nintendo list over from.
I don't think so. I don't
So
think
far.
I like Nintendo. Wait a minute. Ah, damn it. I like Nintendo. Good Nintendo games. But absolutely, Pokemon Silver, I was looking forward to it so much. Just the inclusion of like the cell phone stuff, the berries if you're into that, but the cell phone stuff being able to like rebattle anybody you want, and plus just that crazy twist on par with Metal Gear Solid 2's twist of at the end of the game you go back through all of Johto and see how everything
Very
from
cool.
Red and Blue has changed. Crazy ambitious on the Game Boy. Hell of a lot of fun. That was back when Pokemon meant something, damn it. That storyline moved you.
I don't know if the storyline ever moved us, but it was a
Yeah,
darn
you're
good
right.
game.
Damn good game.
There was less story, which made it better.
That's true.
That's how they did
A
it.
lesson Game Freak doesn't seem to listen to.
World building good, story bad? Is that where we're going?
Yeah, catching Pokemon fun, skipping dialogue.
Who could forget
Bubbles not fun.
NPC 75 with his witty phrase, "I can't find my pants."
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like pants too.
I like pants.
Kyle, number 5.
Number 5.
Halfway point.
What? Okay.
Halfway point.
Let's see. Okay, my number
Halfway
5
point, Kyle.
is Batman Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, brother.
I really love that game. I am a big Batman guy. Batman has always been my favorite superhero.
You look just like him.
Big fan of what he does, generally. I just think he's got a good heart and, is doing good stuff.
He really
Punches
gives
the
those
poor.
bad guys what for.
Exactly. And part of my love for that game comes from just having no faith in it whatsoever, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, Batman games are awful. This looks nice, but I don't think it's going to be any good.
But you're probably that weirdo that like played the Batman Begins game and all that crap, right?
Yes, that's me. Hello. My name is Kyle. I played Batman Begins and beat it. And I remember we had a demo in the store that I was working at, but that was just a combat. And I was like, oh, this really feels like something special. And then we got Game Informer magazine and they gave it a 9 out of 10. And it was just one of those games that like I just did not sleep until I had completed it. I love that game so much. It's got a lot of Metroid sort of DNA in there, and it's just like the best superhero video game ever made. And
Yeah.
like I love that it had like my favorite versions of Batman in there too, like Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill's the
crazy
Joker and
move
stuff.
on their part in terms
Yeah.
of just fan service. Oh, they
Yeah.
nailed it so hard.
And it's just I love the combat. Like I like that you can get good enough to a point where you're just like not getting hit at all, and you just really feel like Batman. And I really love that game. And I think it would be a great game club option in the future.
Wink, wink, wink. Stay tuned, Dan Tack.
I'm staying tuned.
Hey, there we go. Number 5, man.
Oh, we're on 5 now?
Number
Damn it, Dan.
5.
All right. So we're moving. This game's been talked about a lot in context of our 300. Final Fantasy VI,
Final Fantasy VI.
the best one of the entire batch,
but not your favorite.
but not my favorite.
Make sense of that if you can, listeners.
It's really easy. I can
understand.
appreciate that it's a better game.
Yeah.
4 is my own personal
Right.
personal favorite. So if you just want to swap it with 4 for this conversation,
No,
okay.
well, apparently it just doesn't mean anything to you. I guess that's it. Well, what makes 6 so good?
The characters, the gameplay, like this was when story was just starting to enter these like really overarching stories.
I remember that
World
interview.
destruction.
Actually, somebody had the epiphany during an interview back in the day in the mid 90s where someone was talking to a game developer and they're like, wait a minute. Stories. And they started writing it down.
Stories actually care about and tie into
Opera.
everything else, right? It's not just like a random assortment of parts and assets. It's like everything goes together. Every character in that game is different. Like they have,
Yeah.
you want to play Street Fighter, you want to play the blue mage sort of style, like
We all want to play Gao, baby.
exactly.
Gao
Like,
till
Fight
dawn.
a train.
There's all kinds. Yeah, of course you can suplex the train, as everybody.
awesome.
That's the best part of the game. But just so many great, memorable characters, moments, bosses,
And no spoilers.
secrets.
No spoilers, but like the places that game goes and like the twists. Are
Spoilers,
crazy.
the world blows up.
Why are you doing
It's
that?
Final Fantasy VI. We got to talk about something that happens halfway through the game.
All right.
It's
It's very
fascinating. Yeah.
It's a great. It's probably the best Final Fantasy. Sure.
Interesting. I might disagree, but all right. Leo Vader, number 5, man.
Number 5 is Rocket League.
Yes.
It used to be your favorite game of all time.
It used to be.
back when Leo was an intern.
So there's
Little
4 games that came out
flip-flopper.
more recently than Rocket
I've
League?
noticed
No,
something
I've
about Leo's
reevaluated.
list. These are all 2017 and 2018.
Wait a minute. Leo, these are all fun games. That wasn't part of the discussion here.
But you're still playing a lot of Rocket League. You play it on Switch on the bus, I understand.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep, fantastic Switch version. I've put hundreds of hours into that game.
Are you really good?
Penetrated with it. I've been thinking I'm probably the best person in this office, and I
I
would
did-
really like to have an extra life segment where people try to beat me.
Oh, yeah. Write that down.
One thing that I've learned about Leo, just from his personality and the person he is that when he plays on the bus, he won't play on a team, because the Wi-Fi isn't as good, so he only plays one-on-ones. And that, to me, says a lot about his character, because he doesn't want to screw up a team by being the guy with the bad connection on the bus.
And I don't want to say anything bad about like Wade Wojcik or Jason Hayes, or former video guys, but they would have connected to the team on Wi-Fi on the bus.
And they would have complained about the rest of the team, too.
Oh, big time. Great
Ranked
choice.
3v3s for them. For sure.
That's great. What does your car look like right now?
I really like rocking the shredder, the like muscle car looking guy.
Okay.
Cool.
Just a strong car. Like the kind of
Just a
car
strong
that Tim
car.
Allen would have in his garage.
Yeah, that's on PC, but on Switch I don't have that unlocked yet. So use the Merc, the big boxy one.
Ah, badass, man.
Yo, it's
Great
fucking tight.
Oh, great.
Now we're gonna have to.
Hang on.
I'm
Let me
gonna get a
write down
timestamp on that one.
code, 'cause people
Sorry,
are-
He's
we'll
passionate.
cut for a second.
Oh, my God. Okay, number 5 for me. Dantax.
See if you can keep it clean.
Yeah, nothing clean about this. This is prehistoric ages or something. A place beyond time, beyond space, where gods battle each other, Dantec. This is an RTS on the PC from 2003.
Really?
Age of Mythology.
Really?
Number 5. Really? What do you... Come at me, bro!
It's a good game, but it's
Yeah,
not,
you're
it's not
goddamn
number
right.
five.
It's a good
yeah,
game.
write down your profanity note there.
Okay, hang on. I got this. Absolutely.
That's
Age
the
of
first time
Mythology.
you throw me for a loop on your whole list.
Really?
Besides frequency, which I know is like a troll. So
Troll my ass. And I'm going to troll right over you if you keep this up.
all right.
Age of
Go
Mythology.
ahead.
Obviously, a lot of love for Age of Empires out there. Everyone always
Certainly.
cites 2 as one of the probably the greatest Age of game and whatnot. Mythology holds a special spot in my heart for just being a little bit sillier, more interesting, bizarre characters and units you can build, because you can also build for mythological units, and you also, I mean, the way it started out, right? It was Egyptian, Norse, and the Greek, and just having like those different gods and heroes fight each other, including just much bigger swings, because every player, you choose gods along the path, you have 4 god powers that can just make or break the game whenever you want to strategically deploy them, including like my favorite, being an Egyptian man myself, is just having like the meteor power. So much fun to just know that like hovering over that button at any point, I can just click this area of the map and then it just rains meteors and units go flying across the map that just get destroyed. You can level forests. What a hoot, Dan.
I think actually those aspects were very polarizing about the game.
Made it too much fun.
The
ruins
god powers,
strategy.
the god
Ooh.
powers, and later the Titans, right?
Yeah.
Like those are both really like, wow, we don't want this in our purest strategy game.
I'm not crazy about the
I'm-
expansion. But
Okay. I'm just bringing that up.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with it. I like that game.
I don't have a god in that
I don't
fight.
think I don't think it's better than 2, but I like that game a lot.
Okay. Why were you so outraged? And then your rebuttal is,
just-
I like that game a lot.
I do like that game a lot, but these are the best of all. These are the favorite of all time.
Favorite
right? The
of all time. That title screen, Dan,
Right.
gets me heated.
All right.
Heart attack every time.
Let's crank it up. Let's dial it up to 11.
You want to get nuts, Dan?
Let's get nuts.
There we go. Kyle Hillier, number 4.
Man, speaking of just crazy games that are nuts, number 4 for me is Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, there it is.
I've talked about that game a lot lately because of the remake, so I don't know if I need to rehash all that, but I really love that game.
Yeah.
I think it's really heartbreaking and cool, and which is 2 weird adjectives together.
Is this the original or the remaster on your list?
What an
Do we
interesting
have
choice.
to?
Boom.
I guess honestly, like if I'm gonna play it now, and if I'm gonna recommend somebody play it, I'm gonna tell them to play the PlayStation 4 version.
Yeah.
But like at the time, the PlayStation 2 version was amazing. It just like took over my whole like circle of friends when we were playing. Like that was a game we passed around and played a bunch, and I played it multiple times, and
Yeah,
it's really
quit
great.
Bogart and that Shadow of the Colossus.
Sorry.
Yeah, I totally hear you, Kyle. And I forget, like, you know, people need to bring up the time and the place of Shadow of the Colossus as well. Think about it, like tail end of the PS2. Like that generation, I feel like it's defined in some ways by like the Sly Coopers, Ratchet and Clanks, Jack and Daxters, just collectible city, meaningless garbage towns. Good games, but it's just so much crap and clutter.
Trash.
And then just to have what I would call a punk
called
rock
trash.
tone with Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
I guess started for Miko in some ways, but Shadow of the Colossus of we're going to build one of the biggest worlds you've explored in games up to this point. I mean, not including like GTA 3, stuff like that, but still a massive world, nothing in it. And they say, well, surely there's something in that world. Nothing! Well, maybe some lizards and stuff like that, but still.
It's like, all right, fine, but nothing else.
It's such a cool punk rock move,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And
Very punk rock.
it elevates the creatures by having such a sort of sterile, like empty world. Like to just come across these giants was incredible.
Yes, absolutely. And replaying it on PS4, we talked about it in that segment, but man, like the part that moves me the most is just roaming around that world and just the quiet, hearing the wind blow. That's when the tears start rolling.
Do you think they had any other options? Like they could have made a fully populated world that was that big?
I would love to know that. I bet at some point they had discussions about like, do we put more creatures in here?
Yeah,
How do
things
we
to hunt?
Right. Some dip S walked into the office at some point like, we gotta ruin this game. Here's 14-step plan to ruin the game. And we said, no, damn it. We're keeping it clean. We're keeping it pure.
16 Colossus. Thank you very much.
I originally planned 48 or something, but
Yeah,
we're sticking with these 16. Have you ever watched like the early behind-the-scenes footage for that game too?
Yeah,
it was
where
originally
it
like a
was
co-op thing.
Yeah, it's called
on the
Trico.
Yeah, on the PS3 version.
Yep.
I recommend checking out those behind-the-scenes videos. I'm sure they've made their way to YouTube, but they're really
I
fascinating.
remember even seeing those in like trailers, like early on, and like on videos online and stuff. Before the game
Really?
came out. Yeah, great game.
Wow, amazing. Dan Tack,
Hello.
what? Oh, that's the most positive I've ever heard you been. Number 4, man.
We're on number 4.
What is
Oh,
this?
it's I tell you, man, 4. We're getting down there. It's a little game I like to call World of Warcraft.
Just the total umbrella over
Just
everything.
we might as well just take it as the entire entity.
This isn't technically vanilla. This is
If we want to be dialed down, it'll be World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade, and Wrath of the Lich King.
okay.
I don't think
All
we need
right.
to. I mean, the part of the
We don't have to.
thing that's important about that game is that they have continued to like maintain it. And keep
They
it
really have.
interesting,
Yeah,
you know?
give me Revolution. Here's what I remember from the launch of World of Warcraft, Dan, is a lot of server issues.
Yeah, launch wasn't pretty, man.
It was a nightmare. What were you like back in that day, trying to play it?
I mean, I was just coming off of EverQuest to Dark Age of Camelot, like I would expect most MMOers at the time.
Yeah.
And this was just like a vision, right? We got to play with all of our favorite World of Warcraft 3 abilities and Warcraft characters in a more accessible but still hard as balls shell.
And people forget how weird it was back then, too. It was like, I don't know about controversial, but there was some skepticism out there. But like, we know it's Blizzard, but like really taking Warcraft and expanding it an entire world, trying to cash in on the EverQuest thing. Okay,
Getting
guys.
things fixed and up. I mean, God, the Warlock class was garbage for a very long time. But like, it's just like, yeah, but it was still incredible to be able to experience these things. Like, I am underneath Stormwind fighting in the prisons. What?
Yeah.
What is going on here? How is this happening? It's just like it was absolutely unreal, the scope and the vision, and it continues to expand to this day, which is unbelievable.
Through a series of expansions.
And,
Here, I have a very dumb question. I played it at launch a little bit as well. I loved being in the Ghost World. Running
Yes.
through the Ghost World. Is that still in the
That's
game?
still there.
Is it really?
It's still there.
Is it optional now?
No, you still have to go back and get your corpse.
Okay, I'm very happy. I had no idea. I haven't touched Warcraft in so many years.
I mean, it's still, that whole corpse run thing was a blessing compared to other MMOs of the day. Like, you
Right.
had to, oh my God.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember because my friends and I made a series of killer short films about EverQuest versus Warcraft.
Sure.
Because EverQuest 2 came out right before WoW.
They
I
were
think?
similar time, so you had
Okay.
to kind of pick which one you wanted to play.
Yeah. Remind me, I got to show you those short films, Dan. It'll be a real hoot.
All right,
should show
I'm
the-
actually super curious about this.
We should show Extra Life donators. Those.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah, for sure. I'll write that down too. Extra Life
All right.
ideas flown out. If you want to learn more about World of Warcraft's development and the storylines therein, stay tuned in the back half of this podcast. We're talking Blizzard all about it, for Christ's sake.
Boom.
Hey!
Boom.
Synergy.
Here we go. Leo Vader, number 4, man.
Don't do it, Leo.
Whatever it is.
I'm chickening out. I don't want to say this one.
Come on.
The Last of Us.
Wow.
Okay.
I've never heard you talk about that.
I think that's like the only pick that the one I would expect.
my
right?
normie
It's-
pick.
It's, yeah.
That in American Wasteland.
all right, have at it, Normie.
For sure.
Why?
Story was great. I bought it day one. I cried in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Best part of that game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Realistically? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
People don't talk enough about
I like
that.
But I
enjoyed
did
a
love
lot.
the whole duration of that campaign. I never was bored by it or anything. But the real hook that I fell in love with was the multiplayer. Just months of my life, I'd come home every single night, grab a glass of
Tears?
special drink,
Oh.
Wait a minute.
and I would just put on my headset, which I never did for any reason besides wanting to communicate with people in that game, and I would just
Yeah.
like make friends and just squad communicate. It was the precursor to Rainbow Six Siege, really.
It is underrated. Like, it is cool in a Counter-Strike style way where you're down, you're out. Did you do the whole weird thing, which I'm still fascinated by, that, again, no one talks about, where you could, like, connect it to Facebook and it would, like, populate it with your Facebook friends?
I love that.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah,
It's
the
such a weird
metagame that
thing.
happened between matches of like choosing challenges and having it affect this number that would like get you unlocks, this number of people in your
Yeah.
society. I thought it was all so well done, and I fell in love with it at first because I wanted to watch videos of that game because I was so excited, but didn't want any story spoilers. So I just watched videos of multiplayer matches that had like leaked before it
wow.
came out, and I just learned everything about it that way. And
I thought it was a little
fell in love.
inappropriate that you could play as Joel's daughter in those multiplayer matches, though. It's like, come on, guys, tasteless.
She was OP.
Come on. Not for long. Great choice, Leo.
Thanks. And the remaster's better. So
Yeah, that's very true.
beautiful.
Wow, great point. Speaking of remaster, a game that's been remastered more times than you can count, Dan. Remastered again and again and again.
What are we doing?
Specifically going with a version available on the Super Nintendo, coupled with another game that I'm not as crazy about as some people, Dr. Mario. This is Tetris, ladies and gentlemen. The easy number 4, Tetris.
Specifically the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah, and if I was going by Dan's criteria of what I think are the greatest games of all time,
It makes that list, obviously.
it might even take my number 1. But in terms of favorite games, still love to play it. I'll probably play it the rest of my GD life. Tetris, baby.
All right. I don't think anyone can argue with that one.
So
Did you play Tetris too?
I never have.
We played it on replay recently. It's pretty
We
funny.
did.
Is it weird?
It's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, all the blocks are
It's
shaped
Dr.
terribly.
Mario-esque.
There's
It
like
is
gaps in between the blocks.
It's like
Try
it's
it.
like half a Dr. Mario. It's really weird.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I didn't
love
like it
Tetris.
either. It was weird.
I played a lot of Tetris on Game Boy. That's probably where I played the most.
Oh,
and Tetris
yeah.
Worlds on Xbox randomly. That's like the other one that I played so much of.
Oh, weird. What was that one like?
That was the first time, at least that for me, where you could save pieces, and that became a multiplayer staple. When we got bored of Halo, we would play Tetris Worlds.
Sounds neat.
Yeah.
Kyle, number 3.
Number 3 for
Weird.
me,
Down to the wire.
Portal 2. Specifically,
2.
Portal 2.
Nice.
You know,
I love.
All right.
Hang on.
Portal 2.
Dan is allowed to veto your choice. If
Oh,
he's
is that
ruling
right?
in that
Oh,
direction.
okay.
I just
Bummer.
There's a lot of people like this. I think, in fact, the whole table
A lot of correct people.
outside of me likes Portal 2 over Portal 1, and it's never done it for me.
Portal 1 was great. I love Portal 1, but like going back to it, there are puzzles that I do not like in Portal 1. Specifically, the bouncing globe puzzles are not
Yeah.
fun. But Portal 2, I think, is probably one of maybe my favorite video game story. The funniest game.
It is
period.
hilarious.
I love the puzzles. I have played that game multiple times, and even knowing the solutions, I still really love playing that game. My wife and I don't play a lot of co-op games together, despite both of us loving video games. But we played the co-op together, and that was, I really enjoyed that.
It's very
co-op.
hard.
Yeah.
Oh, that co-op's hard. I got stumped
It is
twice. I've tried to play through it with buddies. And
I mean, you
stuff.
basically have to play with like someone you live with who you can commit to. Like, we're gonna work on this. It's gonna take a long time. We're gonna fight,
Right.
but we're gonna get through it. And yeah, I love Portal 2. One of the best games ever made.
Yeah. What about? It certainly has more jokes in it. I feel like the jokes amazing ratio, but there's still a couple misses in that batch. Am I nuts? Am I too sensitive?
I mean,
Just
name
name
like three.
I completely agree with that. Like they do overdo it very little. It's
Yeah.
a fine line. It's hilarious, but I think they do try. I don't want to say try too hard because that's not the right way to say it. But there's like not all the jokes land.
You go to the people.
And you're worried about spoiling Final Fantasy 6.
I don't know. That one felt different. You
That time I wanted
Why did you
to
bleep
do
that
it.
out for me?
Yeah.
But yeah.
All
Portal
right.
2 is great.
Dantak.
Hey, I'm here.
What's up, man?
Number 3. I
How's
know you.
everyone doing?
I know you keep forgetting the numbers.
Oh,
We're
we're
on number 3.
on number 3 now. All right.
Man.
This is a little game I like to call Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
It really doesn't need a whole lot of discussion. If you're listening to this, you probably are well
great.
aware of this particular game.
The Steam version just came out.
Probably the best of all of the SNES and NES era of RPGs, which was just like the golden age. So says a lot.
A dream team coming together, creating what a lighthearted little romp.
Every aspect about that game is incredible.
Mwah.
Every aspect.
You want it, Dan? Do you want to kiss Chrono Trigger?
I would kiss Chrono Trigger.
Do it right now.
I would do a lot more than kiss Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger's
Oh.
listening right now.
Yeah, tell it how you feel.
I can't put that on the air.
It's in the bottom
We'd have
right
to-
of the
we'd have to
screen if
edit
you want
this.
to go kiss down.
We'd have to edit this.
Hey, brother. Okay, Dan. That
Great game.
got weird.
Did it?
Leo
Awkward
Vader.
much?
Of this cast, that's awkward. Please.
I've never said I wanted to sodomize a video game.
No, I didn't
before.
say that either.
Oh, okay. I was
You've never
unclear.
loved a video game like Dan has.
Well, wait till you get to my top 3. Leo, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is Spelunky.
Ah, there we go.
Spelunky.
Hang on, Dantak
I'm
is
trying to
weighing the options.
Try to feel this one out.
Oh, is he gonna let this one fly? I don't know.
For the Leo list, I think it flies.
Thank
Thank
God
you.
bless the Leo list. Spelunky.
It came at a time when I was kind of not falling out of love with video games, but nothing had really captured my interest in like a way that made me excited about the medium.
Right.
But then Spelunky came along, and it's just the way you can watch the world interact with itself and just play each run and get better and better. And then going from like how I played it the first time I ever did to like 2 months later, I bring my friend in for co-op and I'm like explaining every single detail of everything on the screen.
Oh, man.
It was a really satisfying arc and really fun to finally beat. And great co-op.
Did
Those
you?
systems, those systems really get you.
Systems.
I like it. Kyle's
Systems.
is feeling it right now. You see what I'm talking about?
I don't know where this is going. What
You want
about
to kiss
the-
Spelunky with me?
No, I don't like Spelunky as much.
Okay.
What about daily challenges? Are you into that?
Yeah, loved it. Played it a lot on my Vita.
Shout out to Vita!
Yeah, on the bus and when I was waiting for class in college and stuff.
Yeah.
Played a lot of daily challenges, and it was great.
That's awesome, man.
Yo, love it.
A game pretty close to that in every possible way. My number 3 is Metal Gear Solid. This is where
The original.
The original. This
Good
is where it
pick.
gets into in terms of having an impact and playing something that I'd never seen before. All thanks to Pizza Hut. Shout out to my boy Pizza Hut. Mwah. Reggie. For having that demo and just playing that demo section again and again and just being overwhelmed by oh, these guards are reacting in a way I've never ever seen.
I'm leaving wet footprints on the ground.
Yeah. Also, just to say something you probably haven't heard about Metal Gear Solid, which I feel like everything's been said. Wonderful experience through and through. Just 80s action films, liquid, just the absolute best. Voice acting is amazing. But on the what is that YouTube channel? Not Game Breakers, Barrier Break.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I know what you're talking
about?
about. Where they look at the
Camera
games-
Break.
Yeah, outside.
Boundary
Break.
Boundary Break, the YouTube channel. Thank you. They did Metal Gear Solid 1 interesting, and it was so recently, and it was so fun to see just what exactly is going on behind the scenes that you can't quite figure out. And in that early area, just to focus in on that, something crazy is there's reflections in all the puddles on the ground, and the way they did that, which they found out in this Boundary Break thing, is they actually, it's not a puddle at all, it's just a hole, and then they mirror the entire geometry on the bottom.
Clever.
Because the PS1 couldn't handle doing a reflection. It's just insane that level of Kojima je ne sais quoi.
It's a very good game. I love that
Thank you
game
so
a lot.
much. There we go. Kyle, number 2.
Number 2, Mega Man X. One of the best. I don't know. Is that a platformer?
It's a
good.
platformer. It's a platformer.
I play that game multiple times a year.
And you don't know what genre it is?
I don't know what genre it is.
What else would it be?
It's just everything. It's just the love of my life. I mean,
it's really
how do you
good.
classify that?
Sorry, wife.
I liked it more than the follow-ups even. Guys, pay attention to me.
yeah,
I'm
sorry.
saying important things about my favorite game.
Go ahead.
My second favorite game of all time. But I feel like the follow-ups kind of complicated things too much in a way that I didn't like, where you had too many choices. And I liked just being able to go after these 8 bosses and figure out which powers work best and fight a robot spider.
Chalingo penguin.
And I think
Chill
one
Penguin.
of the big differences with X was not only were you always searching, you're getting boss powers like you did in every other game, but it was really important to find the auxiliary sort of stuff. That was really cool.
Yeah, and also just the dashing and wall jumping just changes how you interact with the environment, and it makes you be able to go through those levels so quickly in such a fun way.
Definitely noted. When I played that game, as opposed to the earlier Mega Mans, was you were always thinking of can I jump up this wall that I just passed and try to go above that? Look in every corner to find the secret stuff. That was a very cool thing.
Yeah.
Great
for
game.
Sure. Great choice, man. Number 2,
Good choice.
Dantek.
Number 2. This is a little game.
Never gets old.
Actually, we're number 2 now, so I guess it's a big game.
Yeah. This is the
it's,
Mongo.
Unlike World of Warcraft.
Since number 1 is kind of a gimme, this one's, I guess, this is a big deal. Number 2, Bloodborne.
Oh, that game came out just a couple years ago.
You can't choose something
I think it's my newest game.
Yeah, I think so. Right?
Just everything about that game comes together so seamlessly. Just an atmospheric vision of horror that's just you could tell as much as I appreciate the Soul series and all that other stuff, they're like a mishmash of fantasies.
Yeah.
Whereas the cohesive vision behind the entire experience of Bloodborne is something that has to be experienced for yourself. It's incredible.
Best boss in the game.
Best boss in Bloodborne? Are we counting DLC?
Hell yeah, we are.
Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower.
Oh boy, what's that tongue?
Whoa!
Wow. Okay, why that one?
It's got, without spoilers, it's very... One of the things that From Software Miyazaki do really well is the old, if it's the same size as you, it's probably way more dangerous. It's sort of that kind of hunter versus hunter fight where it's just balls to the wall,
Bang.
different phases, intense music. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's why.
That's awesome.
Great backdrop, too.
Yeah, you give it a 9.75.
I did, and I had to dock points because of load screens and other technical issues.
Have they fixed that a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
There are no load screens anymore?
There's still load screens, but they were brutal on release.
Yeah. Great choice, Dan. Leo Vader, number 2.
My game has a multiplayer focus. It's for sale on Steam, and you get a great value for your $1. It's one of my most played games of all time.
Hang on.
Does it have systems?
You get a great value for your $1.
That's exactly right.
Just full of systems.
Towerfall.
Tabletop Simulator.
There we go, Leo.
Dan's gone. I guess we're
Oh,
on
he's
to
walking
number
out.
one.
He's beat the system. He's chosen the all-in-one game.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do that.
I don't know a lot about that game, but isn't that just like a sort of system to facilitate like other games?
Yes.
Yeah, but you're into that?
But I'm into it.
He's like choosing the danger room as his favorite location.
He's choosing like the top
My
200
favorite
SNES
game
games. He
is-
chooses the SNES Classic.
Yeah. My favorite game is the SNES Classic.
Yeah, Leo, this is a load of bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a f***ing fraud.
Fight me.
All right, what is this game and why do you like it?
Okay. So it's basically just a physics simulator. And you have a table, and you have all different types of objects. Cards, decks of cards, coins you can flip, statues that move, if you're playing like a D&D type campaign. And it has a really deep workshop support where people will scan in real board games, and you can download them and play them online with your friends.
Does like Fantasy Flight say, hey, F that? Or do people get upset about this?
Yeah, people get copyright strikes all the time and stuff gets
So you have
removed
to
from the
scan
workshop.
it in, but just not scan it in too close? Or how does it work?
Well, I mean, it has to get like reported or whatever.
Oh.
But it's a great way to try new games that you don't want to drop the $80 on or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I've spent countless hours playing all sorts of different games. Werewolf, full D&D campaigns.
Really?
Like learned tons of board games in that mode and like went in by myself, downloaded cool stuff, read the instructions, learned it, and then like my friends come online later and I talk to them about it. And these are like online people I would never be able to play tabletop games with, and we just have a blast.
That's amazing.
And I think the game parts of it are really fun because you can save objects. So there's this whole like meta game between me and my friends where we'll get all of these crazy things off the workshop, just like framed photos of Nicolas Cage or like fully modeled pizzas, and you can save them to your chest. Until at this point, I just have this library of hundreds of objects that I can just search through and just like summon a can of Mountain Dew
And
whenever
just
we want.
slide it across the table?
Yeah, I have like a cigarette that smokes, and I can just pick it up and then move it in front of my avatar. I also
That's
have an
amazing.
Oculus Rift, and you can play in virtual reality, and it's very fun.
Goodbye, world. What about here? This is very important. Has anybody modeled Jumanji? Can you do like fantastical games that you can make up your own rule set and stuff?
Yeah, lots of people use it to test their own games, and there really is no limit to like the kind of 3D models you can do. Like people have fully modeled Trivial Pursuit pies, and then they have the little wedges you put in them, which is just like a little impressive thing.
That's very cool. That's a great choice, Leo. I love that.
I
Dantak,
am an evangelist for it.
bite your tongue, sir.
What,
Bite it off.
Can I pick like the Genesis collection on Steam just to
I don't
like?
know. My number two. My number two is the Nesticle emulator.
Yeah, exactly.
You can, as long as it doesn't get legally torn down, like you can put anything you want in there.
Check it out.
It's for sale on Steam.
I'm Leo. No, my number two is a game I talked about way too much on this podcast. We did a game club, the first game club ever, maybe the best game club in my mind, Final Fantasy VII. What a wonderful, lighthearted adventure. I understand it's my first RPG, really, that I ever played, and so that has a huge impact.
Yep.
It's impossible to remove nostalgia, but just soundtrack alone would put it. If that game was just the soundtrack in a CD case, Dantak, still top 5 games of all
I'm
time.
not gonna lie, it's an incredible game.
All right, thank you for agreeing with that. All right, Kyle, you're number one.
My number one, probably not too surprising. You guys could probably guess it. The Legend of Zelda, colon. You guys ready for
Ocarina.
this? Ocarina of Time. Yeah, absolutely. I would not be sitting at this desk talking about video games if that game had not inspired, it had not shown me what video games could be. I love that game. I don't know what really to say about it. It really changed the way I look at video games in a dramatic way.
Well, let's talk about the absence of Breath of the Wild from this list. Was that a tough one?
Yeah, it was considered, but I in my favorite list, I don't feel comfortable having like multiple entries from the same franchise, which maybe is a silly rule.
It is weird,
Yeah,
right?
but like my 10 was kind of floaty, and I did consider Breath of the Wild in there, but Ocarina of Time is too important to me. That game, like I said, that game changed the way I look at video games in a big way.
Yeah.
And I still, I have it on my 3DS, the remake, and I still play it often, and I've replayed it multiple times, and I love that world. I love being in that world, and it's so good.
Yeah. What about there's a villager who looks very funny with tie-dyed pants on the roof in Kakariko Village.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to answer to him?
I was going to ask about that.
He's looking up at the sky. I
He's
think.
very funny.
Just looking at the sky.
Will you kiss him right now? Thank you.
Dantak, do you want to kiss that man too?
Sure.
Give it.
Why the
do
hell
it.
not?
Come on, Dan. Kiss
Throw a
that,
smooch out.
kiss that man. Come on, Dan.
I
Just like this.
actually, I found out these other guys had already been smooching him, so I kind of want to like,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Great choice. Kyle. In terms of a game that deserved that 10 out of 10 back in the day and moving forward, pretty sure Game Informer gave it a 10 out of 10.
Probably.
They should have. For Christ's sake. Yeah, they certainly should have.
So good.
If they didn't, I'm calling down one of those reviewers now from
Call them
upstairs.
down.
Get on down here, you cards.
Roll them down here.
Yeah. All right, Dan Tech, number 1, man.
Number 1, The Legend of Zelda. A Link to the Past. I know it's our top 300 game too, but it's just a pick I can never argue
We were
with.
right about the best game.
That game is so obscenely good. It still holds up. There is a nostalgia element to me. Yes, I know. I'm acknowledging that because I know you're gonna comment on that. But yes, it's still that game is just freaking incredible start to finish.
And on that, holds up today note, I played Ocarina of Time first and went back and played that game.
Yeah.
I still loved it. So I think it does. I think it holds up very well.
I tried playing it in college, and I did not.
But you
finish
hate
it.
puzzles. We have to have that disclaimer here. You do not like puzzles, which is what that game is
And they
about.
kept putting puzzles in the gameplay. I tried to reason with it.
It's a great pick, Dan. Was that your first Zelda, or did you play the original?
I played the original.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. What's better than the Dark World theme? What's better than the Dark World theme?
Nothing's better than the Dark World.
Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, apparently.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Tabletop Simulator. Clearly, you can play all the games you ever
You
want.
can actually, you can build a Labo piano and play the Dark World theme on it within Tabletop Simulator.
There are
pick-
playable pianos that
Why-
you can play with your chest. It's incredible.
Why pick one number 1 game when you can have thousands?
He's right. He beat it. He beat the genie system by wishing for wishes. That's what Tabletop Simulator is.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate game? A million wishes?
Oh, just a million. You even have a line that you want to cross.
Leo, number 1.
Number 1 is The Legend of Zelda.
Shut up, you hack.
My number 1 is Hitman,
Wow!
The latest Hitman, right?
the latest Hitman.
Not PS2 Hitman.
It's like they stopped making Hitman games and then just made a game just for me. That's what I
was
like.
nice of them.
That's my favorite games. It's like, why did they make this specifically to tickle my little my little itchy spots?
and your
as a
itchy
gamer?
spots are just like murdering priests or whatever nonsense you do in that vile game.
Oh, it's full of systems, man.
Yeah.
Got so many
Yeah,
systems.
that game's got really deep systems.
It does. Fully modeled societies. It says a lot to the
Fully modeled societies.
Yeah.
Shut
The,
up.
the biggest every single level in that game is better than any level in any other game of all time. There's just giant sandboxy.
Yeah!
Did you hear
Swinging, Leo, swinging!
that quote? Is obscene.
I stand by it.
Put it on my fucking gravestone.
It's going there.
have you played Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, it's cool. Cool game. That game remains incredibly immersive despite the main character looking stupid as hell in every single outfit you can have him in. And I think that says a lot about how dense and rich every single little piece of the world is.
Wow.
Observing patterns, just sleuthing your way. You can win levels by just talking and getting the right outfits. You can snipe, you can do thousands of different things. And they know what makes the game fun because you're unlocking things like starting locations, like the fact that you can start as just a chef rather than just a citizen is like, oh, I'm jumping ahead 20 minutes or I'm starting this specific situation.
Yeah.
And it's just so exciting to plan the stuff out and then see the plan through to its finish.
We really recommend you read Jeff Markifava's 7 out of 10 review on GameInformer.com to get the full picture on Hitman from 2016.
That's why I'm here, is to change the public's mind.
We've got to go back.
Gotta go back.
Great choice. My number 1, Shadow of the Colossus.
Good number one.
Really?
See, I
Nice.
knew we would have at least one overlap.
Is that the
there.
only overlap,
only
period?
overlap.
That's why this is a good crew,
That's
man.
a
I thought you would
table.
have a Halo. I thought Halo 1 would be on the list.
I considered it. What,
Yeah.
Do you have some danglers, Kyle?
I do. Can I go through them quickly?
Old dingleberries? Yeah, let's go back and forth with our danglers.
Okay. Breath of the Wild,
Sunset Riders.
Yoshi's Island,
Knights of the Old Republic.
Infamous,
Mass Effect.
Dead Space 2,
Breath of the Wild.
Super Mario 64,
Worms Armageddon.
Hyper Light Drifter,
SSX.
Picross 3D,
Red Dead Redemption.
Grand Theft Auto,
Paper Mario.
4,
Oh. Paper Mario.
Half-Life 2,
4.
Was it Grand Theft Auto 1?
Jack 2, Jack and Daxter 2,
Jack Box. Party Pack 3.
Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
WarioWare Inc.
Here's a weird one. Castlevania, Dawn of Sorrow.
Thank you so much for watching this excerpt from the Game Informer Show podcast. You can subscribe to the audio version and listen to new episodes airing every Thursday. We cover big games on the horizon, games that we've just reviewed. We have long-form developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So check it out every Thursday.